Kevin, so glad to see you, and I believe this is very fun, interesting time to share with the audience. So could you tell us yourself?
Well, I'm very pleased to be here. I just returned from 24 days on the ocean. We went up to Iceland, Greenland, Newfoundland, and then back to Canada and Boston. And I serve as a pastor primarily to the crew.
The crew.
The crew.
How many crews?
Well, on this ship we had 900.
Wow.
From 31 different countries.
Wow.
And they're away from home for 8 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes 16 months if they extend. Mm-hmm. You're out at sea for 24 days. Next month I'll be out for 50 days.
Mm-hmm.
And they deal with the same issues that we deal with here.
But on the ocean.
But on the ocean, away from their families.
Yeah, probably more intense.
It is. And like this last cruise, we had 2 sisters from Thailand whose father passed away.
Wow.
And you have to, encourage them and get them a flight out of Iceland.
Oh.
And then a week later, I'm the first one off the ship to meet them,
Oh.
and counsel with them before they get back on the ship. So we picked them back up a week later in Boston.
Wow. So pretty much like they
Yes.
fly from Iceland
Yes.
and coming back, join the
Yes.
group. Wow.
And the cruise line was so generous with them and took care of everything. And every major port we have 30 or 40 crew leaving, more coming on. So my job was to get out and meet with that
Really?
couple early on.
So they have different, the whole trip, they have a different segment.
Yes.
Different crews coming, different crews.
Yes,
Wow.
yes. This one was one of the few ships out of Boston for 24 days.
Is that the full kind of vacation time or?
Well,
Right?
no, this is on a cruise ship. So we
Cruise ship.
had 2,000 passengers
Wow.
and 900 crew.
Mm-hmm.
And the cruise ships now get so big, sometimes you have 4,000 people on them.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as passengers, and then you'll have a crew of maybe 1,500.
Wow.
So it's difficult work. It's very fortunate for them because not only do they provide for their families back home, but they provide for extended families.
Right.
Like in China and the Philippines. It is.
So it's like a small society.
It really
they do
is.
all kinds of jobs.
That's
Cooking,
right. That's right.
mechanics.
That's right. They do everything from domestic, helping the rooms, to being a chef, to being a waiter and a waitress, to being the emergency with the life rafts, and some are entertainers, and they're people. People go and take a cruise to be pampered, to be appreciated, but most people don't understand the other side of it. So Hannah and I, when she travels with me, we go way down to the bowels of the ship, late at night, when everyone else is sleeping, the shows are over. We go down and we do a Bible study from midnight, and then at 1 o'clock to 2, we'll meet with a different group, maybe Indonesians.
Wow.
So, and the last cruise we were on, Hannah gave her testimony. She was a little nervous because of her accent and her English coming from Wenzhou, China, and she did wonderful. And the crew really related to her because she's one of them. She's a foreigner, And so I've been doing this for many years. So
how many years?
Over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
Yes.
And on the ship, you were treated like staff member,
yes. When
chaplain.
Right. On Sundays, we will do a regular service for passengers. This past time, there was another couple that asked to do it, so I said, great, because my heart is with the crew. My heart is with the people that are away from.
But you gotta also get a chance to do.
But we do that sometimes as well.
Wow.
And so we'll be assisting with this next. The next cruise is 35 days, and we'll be doing both work. But my heart is really with the people that are away from their families.
Right.
Serving 36 years in the military, oftentimes I was away in a combat zone, and it's difficult. Everything gets magnified. The problems get more magnified with the distance.
Right. So they call you Pastor Kevin.
They do. They do.
And you have your schedule. You have
yes.
your...
Yes.
Wow.
I typically am up late because the counseling that we do or the prayer meetings or worship service is late when everyone else is asleep.
Right.
So I typically will miss breakfast, you know, and but that's okay. That's just my schedule.
Do you talk to sometimes individuals as a counseling?
I do a lot of that.
Oh, wow.
And sometimes the door will knock and there'll be room service and there'll be two, this last trip, two from the Philippines. And they came in and they're married. They're a married couple serving on the same ship. And they just said, and I said, I'm sorry, I didn't order room service. They said, we know, but we just want encouragement for our marriage. And then during the entire voyage, I check up with them and encourage them because we, as pastors and missionaries, need to bring hope to the hopeless. Right. And we've all been in those difficult situations where you need, the Bible says, as iron sharpens iron, we are to sharpen one another. And it's amazing how encouraging it is, not only for them, but for me.
Right. Can you tell us a short story about how you got the counseling and serving one of the crew member and they got encouraged?
Actually, Hannah was with me on one, and we're in the South Caribbean, and one of the performers, he was a trumpeter, he came to us and he said, I really need help with my family. And then two other people came. And there's some pictures that we'll provide to you later. You'll see Hannah with 4 or 5 from 4 different languages and 4 different places. And, you know, everyone needs that encouragement. And everything we do, we redirect them upward to the Lord because He's our answer. I'll give you an example from the Philippines from just last week. There were 2 young ladies that I sort of adopted through college in the seminary in Manila. And one of them was in prison in Dubai, another one was into drugs and prostitution. But I saw potential. I saw that God could use them. So I said, okay, if you two continue to follow the Lord, I'll get you through college. They're both now in the mission field. They have both been on the 700 Club in Asia.
Wow, incredible.
And one of them leads, she has impacted 100,000 Philippine teenagers with a risk program of drugs and sex and whatever.
So you just mentioned that you had this experience just recently.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Just a week or two ago, I was 2 weeks in the Philippines. But no matter how big the ship is or how small the ship is, the crew are humans, and they have the same issues and the same desires. And it encourages me that there's a group of many different languages, but that we come together and we worship the Lord. And then the next week they bring friends. And then before you know it, you see happier crew. And so some cruise lines really appreciate having a pastor.
So last trip, how many days again?
That was 24 days.
24 days. How many countries?
6 countries.
6 countries.
And that put me over the 200th country. That was my goal in my life.
That's your bucket list.
That was my bucket list.
So how many countries left? I mean...
I just have a few. We're going to be in French Polynesia and New Zealand. Will be new ones for us next month. But, you know, there are places like North Korea that probably isn't a good idea for me to go into as a career army guy and a missionary. But the Stan countries, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, these are in my future, maybe next summer. And
so next trip, total how many countries?
Probably 8 new ones. But for Hannah, a lot more countries than that. You know. And then we'll get back into China. There's one major corporation that has like 5 or 6 lines
Uh-huh.
called Carnival.
Right.
So Carnival has Holland America, has Princess Cruise Line, the old love boat that we all grew up with.
Right.
These are all under the same umbrella, so it's easier that they talk. Norwegian Cruise Line, which we do mission work, is with a different company, but the word gets out.
So maybe you can say hello and goodbye for different languages.
Yeah, ni hao, hola que tal, jambo habari, that's Swahili, supa is Maasai. So between my daughter, my wife, and I, we speak 15 languages.
Wow.
And don't give me a grammar test, okay, on most of them.
Well, greeting is important enough.
Yes.
Ice-breaking.
Yes, absolutely.
So-
And a smile. You see, they say the windows are the path, or the eyes of the windows of the soul, and with a smile and kindness in your eyes, that breaks down any barrier.
That's right.
And so we have to look for opportunities to serve beyond our church walls. That would be
So
great.
tell us your background. I know you for a long time, and you graduated from West Point before.
Yes. Yes.
And hello.
I was enlisted during Vietnam.
All right.
Before West Point. And it was funny because I've had this watch that I bought in China, in Hong Kong, in 1972, right in the middle of the Vietnam War, and it has not stopped working. So I wear my watch. I wanted to serve my country. I wanted to serve my family.
Right.
I wanted to serve my fellow men. And so the military for me was a wonderful opportunity. We took up a Space Force lieutenant today for a balloon ride.
All right.
And I was baptized at the Air Force Academy as an exchange cadet. So as a young man, I really searched for God's heart. At a low point I had just retired from the military. I didn't know what I was going to do. I felt kind of useless at that time. But I said, Lord, I don't know if you use me, but I'm here. So send me, do whatever you want with me. You have to be careful when you pray that, because within a week I had a telegram or something saying I need to go to Somalia. They had a severe drought there in Kenya. And before you know it, I'm living in a mud and dung hut in Africa, in Kenya. And actually, Hannah and I were married in that village.
Wow.
I'm an elder in that village now, and we're going to be going back next summer. So really, you just have to say, Lord, use me. And you don't need to know a bunch of languages. You don't need to have gone to Bible school or know, have memorized everything.
Right.
That's the enemy trying to discourage us from reaching out. You just have to be willing and just look upward.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So great to see you.
We really appreciate our home being here, and we miss you all when we're gone.
Thank you. We'll pray for you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
God bless you.